Hi guys, how's everybody doing today? I hope you are all doing great. My name is Miss Young and I make videos to help you remember the things that you already know and to teach you about some new things. So today we're going to start with our question of the day, and then we're going to switch screens and we're going to talk all about severe weather. Severe weather is things like thunderstorms, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, blizzards, floods, things like that. So we're going to learn about that, then we're going to come back here, talk about it, and then talk about some things that you can do at home. Okie doke. So our question of the day today is, when you first meet someone new, someone that you've never met before, what should you do? Should you give them a great big hug and tell them all about yourself? Or should you shake their hand and tell them your name, my name is, and say, nice to meet you? Which do you think would be the better choice? I'm going to give you some time to think about that, and then we'll talk about it. Okie dokie. Did you say give them a great big hug and tell them all about yourself? No. Did you say shake their hand, tell them your name, and say nice to meet you? Yes, that is a better choice. So guys, I know that you may be happy and excited to meet a new person, and that's wonderful, but most people don't want to be given a big hug when you don't know them yet. People like to have their space. Also, we have to be a little bit careful because of the virus. Some people are still very sensitive to keeping a distance, so we have to be mindful of that. So the better choice, guys, is shake somebody's hand, or an elbow bump, or a fist bump, and say, hey, my name is John or Mary, Miss Young, and nice to meet you. And then you can start talking to that person and getting to know them. Once you get to know somebody very well, like your close friends and your family, then it's okay to give them a hug when you first see them after you haven't seen them in a while. Okay, so remember, if you meet a complete stranger, let's not give them a hug right away. Handshake, my name is, and nice to meet you will be just fine. Okay, guys? All right, so now we're going to talk about weather, all about severe weather. And and then we're going to come back here and we're going to talk about some things that you can do. Okay? All righty. Let's go. Severe weather is when calm weather turns into a storm. There are many different kinds of severe weather. A thunderstorm is when there's heavy rain, strong winds, thunder, and lightning. Lightning bolts can be very dangerous and can strike the ground and anything that is around the area where it strikes. When the rain is very heavy and it doesn't stop for a long time, it can cause a flood. A flood is when there is nowhere for the water to go and it rises up. The lakes overflow and the water covers the streets and seeps into houses and buildings. Sometimes funnel clouds can appear during a thunderstorm. When a funnel cloud touches the ground, it's called a tornado. The strong spinning wind of the tornado can rip apart houses and trees. The states that have the most tornadoes are mostly in the middle of the United States. If there is a tornado in your area, you should go to the bottom level or basement of the building you are in and stay away from windows. A hurricane is a severe storm that starts over the ocean with heavy wind and rain and travels in a path until it reaches land. When a hurricane reaches land, the strong winds and rain can destroy houses, cars, and trees. Many states that get hurricanes are around the outer edge of the country near water, like Louisiana and Florida. If you know a hurricane is coming, stay away from windows and make sure you have emergency supplies like a flashlight and water. Blizzards are a severe snowstorm. The wind is very strong and snow piles up. Driving can be very dangerous. Blizzards only happen in states that have snow, in the upper or northern part of our country. Then there are earthquakes. An earthquake is when the earth shifts and it causes the ground to shake. Cups and plates rattle, books fall off the bookshelves, and if it is a bad earthquake, buildings can fall to the ground. If there is a severe earthquake where you live, crawl under something like a table or heavy furniture to keep things from falling on top of you. California is a state that has a lot of earthquakes, but earthquakes can also happen in other parts of the world. A meteorologist is a fancy name for a person that studies the weather. They use satellites and radar to track the weather and report it on TV and the radio. They will warn people if there is a storm coming and tell you to go to a safe place.
Okay guys, so we just learned all about thunderstorms, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, blizzards. So depending on where you live in our country, the United States of America is a big place, and we have 50 states. And some of those states have certain kinds of weather and other states don't. So, for example, I live in Florida, and we do not have snow ever, ever, ever. But if you live in Michigan or Colorado or New York, you get snow in the wintertime. So, if you live in the middle part of the country, those states get more tornadoes. If you live out west in California, that state gets more earthquakes. So, depending on where you live, you need to prepare for some severe weather. Okay? Let's talk about getting prepared. No matter what kind of weather it is, let's talk about getting prepared for it. And this is one thing that you can also do at home. No matter if it's a hurricane or a tornado or even a blizzard, you should gather up some supplies that you might need in case the electricity goes out or if you don't have any water. So, it's always best to have a flashlight and have actually a container like this. You could even mark it if you want. Hurricane supplies or tornado supplies. Then, inside your container, you can put number 1, flashlight, because usually the electricity goes out and you need a way to see things. And then you also need some fresh batteries. Make sure that the batteries in your container are working, because if you go to use your flashlight and the batteries are dead, then you won't be able to use your flashlight. So make sure that you have fresh batteries and a flashlight so you can see if the electricity goes out. It's also good to have a radio, an old-fashioned radio. This way you can hear the weather reports, because if the electricity goes out, guys, you won't be able to get on the computer. Okay, so you'll need a radio. And also make sure that the batteries in your radio are working, because if the batteries aren't working, then you won't be able to use your radio either. Now, lots of times you need water. So get some bottled water. You can get a large jug like this or some smaller bottles, or you could fill up some glass jars with some water and have those handy. And then you can have some food like beef jerky and peanuts and beef jerky and tuna fish that doesn't have to be put in the refrigerator. These things can stay out, and you don't need to put them in the refrigerator to keep them fresh. Because if the electricity goes out, you can't use your refrigerator either. And you'll need something to eat, and you'll need something to drink. Okay? So, be prepared for whatever kind of severe weather you have where you live. And you can gather up all those supplies. Keep them handy. Okay, another thing to remember with severe weather, and another thing that you can do at home, is you can decide with your family or whoever you live with where is a safe place to go. So, in your house or your apartment or wherever you live, you can decide on the room that's the safest. It has to be a room with no windows, because no matter what kind of severe weather, the windows could break, and then the weather could come inside your house, and you don't want to be near a window where the glass could shatter. So you can decide, okay, it's going to be the hall closet, or it's going to be the bathroom, or if you live up north where there's basements, it could be the basement where it's the safest place. So ask your family or whoever you live with where the safest place is to go, and remember that. You could even write it down and put it in your container of your supplies so you don't forget. Now, sometimes there's a place other than your house that's the safest place to go. I know where there's tornadoes, well, I don't know because I live in Florida and we don't have those tornadoes that just come out of nowhere, but I think there's special shelters in certain places for tornadoes. So if there's a special shelter that you need to go to, then remember where that shelter is, where you're supposed to go. Okay, so that is the second thing that you can do at home to be prepared to be safe. The other thing that you can do at home is you can keep track of the weather for a month. What you can do is get a calendar of any kind, okay, and then whatever day it is, you can draw a cloud or write the letter C if it's cloudy. You could draw a sun or write the letter S if it's sunny. Or you could draw some raindrops or write the letter R if it's rainy. And then what you can do is at the end of the month, when the month is finished, you can count up all the days that it was cloudy, all the days that it was sunny, and all the days that it was rainy. And then you can kind of keep track of the weather. Now, if there's a severe storm, you could make another drawing for that. Whatever it is you want to do, you could get very creative. So that is a weather chart that you can keep at home. Okay, guys, well, we are out of time for today. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!